The San Antonio Spurs drafted 2 players last night that have never been in my kitchen. What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports, and props to you if you got that reference in the intro. The NBA draft is over, and our Spurs drafted 2 players last night in the second round that, quite frankly, I had not heard of. Ja'Kobi Gillespie and Maliq Brown. I'm going to talk a little about each player, and then I give my grades for each player, the second round, and then my overall grade for the entire NBA draft. First up, Ja'Kobi Gillespie, 5'11" and 3/4. Yes, he's a smaller guard, 182 pounds, 6'4" wingspan. He does have a 39.5-inch vert, so he can fly. We're going to go with fan-sided as we're just going to stay consistent with what I did yesterday. Ja'Kobi Gillespie is a classic heart over height bet. He's a compact, uber-aggressive on-ball defender. He's also among the best perimeter shot makers in this draft. He's not the most natural point guard at 6 foot even, but the Spurs desperately need shooting. Playing next to big slashing guards like Harper and Stephon Castle, with Wemby stationed behind him on defense, is about as perfect a setup as Gillespie could hope for. And Fansided gave this draft pick an A. All right. JG played 4 years of college. He's going to be 22 when the season starts. His senior year, he shot 34% from 3, but he did shoot 41% his junior year, so there is 3-point potential with him. Drafting this player makes me wonder if we just drafted Jordan McLaughlin's replacement. I'm going to give this pick not an A, and this might be just more of a familiarity issue with the player. I'm going to give it a B+. I don't hate the pick, but there were other guys that I thought we should grab, but what do I know? I'm a guy on his couch. I'm not the GM of the San Antonio Spurs. Up next, Maliq Brown. Sticking with fan-sided, the Spurs add the best defender in the ACC last season. Okay, Maliq Brown's scoring limitations could tank his NBA transition, and he's undersized for a center at 6'8" and 217. I don't think we're going to play him at center. I presume it would be more the power forward spot at that height. But Brown's frenetic activity level on defense, he's a stock and deflections machine. Stocks being steals plus blocks, gives him a clear path. San Antonio has loaded up on quality, versatile front court defenders behind Victor Wembanyama, addressing one of the few roster weaknesses on display during their NBA Finals run, which of course would be size. Graduates draft a guy near 6 foot, but if you replace McLaughlin, half a dozen 1/600. Anyway, let's talk about Maliq Brown. 6'8", about 217 pounds, as they said, 7'1" wingspan, and that B grade. Okay. Also played 4 years of college. So you see a little pattern there. 4 years with our first second-round pick, 4 years with our second-round pick. He'll be 23 this season. He can't shoot. At Duke this year, he shot 17% from 3 and 50% from the line, so he's probably never going to be a shooter. What he is, though, is a defensive specialist. The 25-26 ACC Defensive Player of the Year and 6th Man of the Year, if I read everything right, plus 2 ACC All-Defensive teams. This guy is a D slinger. All right, let's give my thoughts on the draft, the second round, and then everything that the Spurs did. I will say, I am very surprised, and I'm sure many of you probably are, we actually did draft 4 players. We ran a couple mocks on the channel, and in the comments, I would say about 99%, maybe higher if you said, we're not drafting 4 players. I myself went on record. We're not drafting 4 players. Guess what we did? We drafted 4 players, which kind of, here's your Maxime Moreno reference for the week, drives me crazy that we did not draft him last year and we got rid of our second-round pick. It is what it is, but we drafted 4 guys. There's a trend I'm seeing with this particular draft, Spurs fans, and maybe that's not being talked enough about. Minus Jaden Quintons, who's going to be a bit of a rehab project over the next season, maybe in the next 2 years, our other 3 picks were all players that played 4 years in college. Terrace Reed Jr., Ja'Kobi Gillespie, and Maliq Brown. My opinion, I think Brian Wright and company were looking for rookies that can possibly contribute now and not in a few years. These guys are more NBA ready because they played 4 years in school. They are what they are for the most part at this point. Sure, they can improve on some things, but I think Brian Wright is grabbing guys. He's like, you know what? You can contribute now. Not will then be now or soon, but now. Maliq Brown, great example. Bring him in 5 or 6 minutes. You just need somebody to play defense. You just need a stop. You need to stop a run. You bring him in. Maybe you need a bucket real quick. You need a speedy guy to counteract another speedy guy like in the finals, a Jalen Brunson or Jose Alvarado, smaller guard type. You bring him in. I like what they're doing. As far as the second round overall, I'm going to give the same grade actually for Ja'Kobi Gillespie and Maliq Brown. I'm going to give them both a B. And again, this might be more of a familiarity issue as I don't know the players, really don't know the players. But overall for the second round, I'm going to give it a B+. And then our overall draft grade, I'm going to give it an A. I like what they're doing. It might not be the optimal picks we all wanted, but getting a guy that could be a steal the draft in JQ and Jaden Quintance, and then immediately getting a guy that can take the minutes he would have gotten if he was good to go, that can also contribute right away in Terrace Reed Jr. to the second round is unexpected as it is, and I was literally, who are these guys last night? I think we did really good. We got some guys that are NBA ready and win now type guys, not guys we need to develop over the next 3 or 4 years, because we are in win now mode. We are, right? The Spurs are an NBA final, going to be a perennial finals contender for the next decade. And I like what they're doing. I said on this channel a lot, we need to restock and reload with younger talent. Some of you pushed back and said, no, we need a whole bunch of vets. Don't be bringing in these younger guys. And the Spurs agree. They went with a lot of younger guys, but they went with seasoned younger guys that are 22 or 23, not a bunch of 19-year-old guys that need a lot of season. I know I'm going with the seasoning thing. So I like what we're doing. That being said, though, we do still need more vets. I agree with you guys there. We need to address shooting. We got a little bit of shooting in the draft, but clearly not enough. Rui Hachimura is going to be a free agent, I believe. John Collins is. There are some bigs out there. A big that can shoot would be very beneficial to the team. There's also the chance that the Spurs could make a trade, but I don't see that happening. Probably going to be free agency, which free agency starts next Tuesday, which I actually will be live for. You guys said it. TSR, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Well, I might as well go live for a few hours. I think we'll do a free agent video tomorrow talking about who's out there. I do expect us to pick up somebody. And I do expect a lot of roster turnover, maybe like we haven't seen in a while, in the next few weeks. I don't expect... let's talk about guys that aren't coming back. Kelly Olynyk, absolutely not. Not with that salary he had and how little production we had. Mason Plumlee gone. I think Jordan McLaughlin's gone. With them drafting Ja'Kobi Gillespie, I think they're going to move on from him. Lindy Waters... We brought him in for three-point shooting, and he did not give us that this year. I don't remember what he shot from three. I want to say it was around 33, 34%. He could be gone. That's 4 players. You got your 2 vets that are huge question marks in Bismack Biyombo and Harrison Barnes. You got Harrison Barnes, a great community guy, a locker room guy. Bismack Biyombo, a locker room guy. I don't know if he does a lot of community stuff, but both guys that are certainly good vets to have locker room-wise. I see them keeping at least one. Diablo's going to be the cheaper option. Maybe they keep Barnes if he takes kind of a minimum salary type deal. I think that could be 5 guys off this team. 5 guys off a finals team is crazy when you think about it. But those guys weren't playing, and they certainly were not playing in the playoffs and definitely not playing in the NBA finals. All those guys were unplayable, which is shocking to say. Harrison Barnes, a former NBA champion with the Golden State Warriors, yes, I know it's a decade ago, I thought for sure he would contribute somehow in the playoffs and finals, but his minutes dwindled until he didn't play, I believe, the last 3 games of the finals. So I like what the Spurs are doing. It's not the direction I thought we were going to go in, but it's a direction, and I think it's a good direction. We've got our core. Wemby, Harper, Castle, and Fox, love it or hate it, is still part of the core at least for next season. Vassell's contributing. Keldon will be here next year. Kornet will be running it back with a lot of the same guys. Julian Champagnie, I'm sure, will get extended. But we have some young talent, and we've got size. And I didn't say it yesterday, and I should have. We've got girth on this team. I'm excited for next season, and we still have free agency. I fully expect us to pick up somebody. I believe we can pick up Rui Hachimura with our mid-level exception, like 15 or 16. Correct me if I'm wrong. Some of you guys are really good at that mid-level stuff. I still struggle with it. We're going to make some moves. I'll talk about free agents tomorrow. Drop a comment down below. Your thoughts on Ja'Kobi Gillespie when he was drafted. Your thoughts on Maliq Brown. Have you followed either of these players throughout their college career? And you're like, you know what, TSR? Those are darn good picks. I followed Duke. I know what he can bring. I followed Tennessee. I know what he can bring. We're in good shape. And then your overall draft grade for all 4 picks. And did you honestly think there was any chance that we would draft 4 players? I did not. No chance. I thought 42 and 44 would get packaged to move up and get somebody else. Nope. We used 42 and 44. Well, who knew? Not me. Maybe you. All right, hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. And if you'd like to support the channel, and of course, subscribe to become part of our Spurs community. We'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's video. Thank you, and as always, go Spurs go.